everybody, John 12 back here again with another video, and today I bring you and present to you the first episode to my Dragon Ball podcast. Yes, it's been a while since I've, freaking have addressed it, basically, I did state that I was going to do a Dragon Ball podcast. That was the general gist of what I wanted to accomplish with this year, but seeing as how so many things have been going on, and so many other videos have been going by that I had to make, and seeing as how it is the holidays, it's been so difficult just to do my John 12 Effect podcast. The reason behind the lack of episodes on that podcast is because the holidays. The holidays have been draining me. Thanksgiving passed, and now we're heading towards Christmas. But I decided if I don't do it now, I'm probably never going to do it ever. So I'm recording this December 10th, and this is the first episode of Dragon Ball. I'll be basically addressing the same formula I have for my Effect podcast will be the same one here. This will start off as like my narration, my topic. I'm talking, bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Then get into story, and then just talk about what's new in the Dragon Ball Z universe. And then we'll just go right down to, other stuff, like top fives and, creating a Dragon Ball Z, live action franchise. And then we'll end it and just continue going on. But anyways, moving off of that, first off, I wanted to address some interesting things that I find hysterical, which is, of course, the big reveal of the new Dragon Ball Z movie. I'm pretty sure everyone has their own personal feelings towards it, and I've heard various people talk about it. Lots of people are like, oh, Frieza, he's the worst character. Oh, he's so weak in comparison to the Z Warriors now. Oh, they should have brought back Cell, or Kid Buu, or freaking Turles, or maybe Broly, or, there were so many, multiple characters that, lots of people wanted back, and that's what's gonna happen, you're always gonna have that moment in time where, the character that they eventually come back is the opposite of what other people want, there's multiple Broly fans that want more Broly, there's multiple Cell fans that want more Cell, there's multiple people who want, evil Goku, I'm telling you, I've seen more evil Goku stuff than I'm comfortable with, and that's not me being negative towards it, it's just that there's something that people need to understand with this whole evil Goku thing. I know it's a big fan thing, but you need to stop, because first off, that's what Turles is. Turles is evil Goku, folks. The Dragon Ball Z movies already did that. Turles, the Tree of Might. You wanted your Goku versus evil Goku scenario? That's what it is. Tree of Might is that. So I don't know why people continue to bitch. It's like, oh, we want Evo Goku the way he's presented in those Dragon Ball Z fan mangas. Like Dragon Ball Z, multiverse or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. There's multiple fan mangas that I haven't been keeping up with, but there's tons of those, and lots of people love those fan mangas, but that's what they are. They're fan mangas. It's not canon. What Akira Toriyama is doing is what he wants to do, and he feels that Frieza is the right character to bring back, and I agree with that. I like that idea. I like Frieza. He's my favorite villain. I've already addressed that. And that's just me being honest. A lot of people have their own they differ with that opinion, and that's good. You don't have to agree with what Toriyama wants to do. You can do what you want. You would want to do what you want to do, and that's cool too. But I don't know. I just personally feel that Frieza's the right move. It just makes sense. Overall, I'm going to talk about the trailer that came out, because I actually didn't make an overall trailer review for it, because it's not really a legit trailer. It's kind of just generalized footage from the movie that that they just put out there. So it's not like an actual legit trailer for the movie. But overall, it did showcase some interesting sequences that I wanted to address. First off, we got a good look at what Frieza looks like in the movie. Apparently, he's going to be coming back in his base form, which is interesting to say the least. And yeah, apparently his entire organization / empire is still in full effect. Apparently, there's a whole bunch of Saiyans, a whole bunch of Frieza's minions all over the place attacking the Z Warriors. We got the Z Warriors back in action. One of the good things about this trailer is that it showcases characters that you don't usually see fight. anymore actually get good sequences. Like, there's a good sequence of Master Roshi in his, like, 100 form when he's all ripped and shit, and he's, like, doing a Kamehameha. Like, that's awesome, and I love that. And I think that's the good aspect about the trailer, and one of the best aspects, because what that means is that in this movie, we're going to get something that we don't get a lot anymore. You know, we didn't get it in the Boo Saga, we didn't get it in GT especially, so it's good that we're going to have multiple characters fight, you know, because we kind of got that with Battle of Gods, but because of Beerus being so powerful, every other character and every other Z Warrior felt like child's play to him. So I guess the good thing about having Frieza's Planet Trade Organization being in effect in this specific movie will give chances for other characters, you know, like Tien, Piccolo, Master Roshi, maybe Yamcha and Krillin, especially Krillin, to get some good action sequences, which is awesome, because we all know that Toriyama definitely plans on giving us more action with this movie, so that's definitely a plus. And we apparently get a good reveal as to who the character in the jumpsuit is. Yes, if you remember in the poster, there was a lot of speculation as to who that person was, really, and it was really weird, you know, because the character looked a lot kind of like Yamcha because his hair was all weird, but apparently it might be Gohan. Yes, apparently it could be Gohan, because in the trailer that character transforms into a Super Saiyan and he looks exactly like Gohan. So I don't really know. Originally I thought it was Yamcha, but then I was proven wrong, and then I thought it was Goten, because maybe, you know, this movie takes place a little longer than Battle of Gods, and maybe Goten and Trunks finally grown up the way they should have, you know, in Battle of Gods. But apparently, that's not true, people. It's Gohan, and Gohan is a Super Saiyan again, which I heard a lot of people bitch about. It's like, oh, why is Gohan Super Saiyan? He doesn't... Why does Toriyama keep doing that? Why did they keep animating that? Don't they realize Gohan doesn't need to be a Super Saiyan anymore? I get that, folks. It's just a trailer. You know, they did the same thing with Battle of Gods. You remember, like, in the first trailer, the original trailer, they showcased Gohan transforming to a Super Saiyan prior to him facing off against Beerus. But in the actual movie, and the extended version, he obviously is in his base form. He's in his mystic form, so he doesn't really need Super Saiyan. The only time he legitimately actually transforms into a Super Saiyan is when he's transferring his power to Goku, so Goku can become a Super Saiyan God. But anyways, I know a lot of people have been having problems with that. Once again, it could be just another animation fuck up, you know, like, it happens all the time. Lots of people, like, accidentally color in the wrong colors, or put in the wrong clothing, or, you know, put that face on the wrong face. It's an animation problem that happens a lot, so it's not really that big of a deal. Once again, the footage they showed is not the real, legit, you know, trailer, so it's just footage that they shown, so. Overall, the trailer was pretty cool. The overall footage they showed was cool. I love the Goku versus Frieza stuff. I was hoping for some more Vegeta stuff. Like Vegeta, like, I don't know why, but I want him to have an epic battle in this scene. He didn't really get that in Battle of Gods. Like, Battle of Gods, he had, like, 2 good fights, and then that was pretty much it. He didn't really have another good, legit fight. Like, in this movie, I want Vegeta to have at least almost, or at least the same amount of action sequences that Goku does. Like, I know Goku will more than likely come out as the hero. I know a lot of people are like, oh, Vegeta, he needs to be the lead of the movie. And I agree, too. That would be cool. But if that doesn't happen, I would at least want Vegeta to have as much fighting scenarios and sequences than Goku. Because based off the trailer, we do know that Goku and Frieza will face off against each other. So I really don't know about that. Also, we got some cool Whis and Beerus stuff. Beerus wasn't really in the trailer, so we are speculating as to whether or not Beerus will actually fight in this movie. My guess is that there's a lot of speculation. Speculation number 1 is essentially that Frieza kills Beerus. Now, we don't know if that could be possible. As we know, in the current state of the Dragon Ball universe, Beerus is the strongest character in the universe, so that's going to be difficult. But if Frieza does get this new power and ability, that might change a lot, so you never know. Frieza could end up being the most powerful villain in the Dragon Ball mythos, so that could be pretty badass. But other than that, Could Beerus die? It's possible. Could Frieza become the new God of Destruction? Possibly, I don't know. Speculation number 2 is that, Beerus is beaten by Frieza, and then that's pretty much it. That's where Goku has to come in, and Goku surpasses Beerus in power, which is interesting. And then there's the Whis thing that lots of people are really considering, is that whether or not Whis actually fights in this movie. My guess is that Whis may fight, but I think if he does, it probably will not be as extensive as we hope it will be. I think the majority of his action will be just like how it was in the Battle of Gods. Like, he's just a teacher. He's not, full on, I gotta save the universe. Like, I don't know. Like, we don't know his priorities. His priorities is to take care of Beerus, and that's pretty much it. He's his teacher. He's basically Beerus's Alfred. That's essentially what Whis is. He's powerful, and he's stronger than Beerus, but that's what Whis is. He's Beerus's Alfred. So that's essentially how I see it. Is if Whis has extensive battle sequences, that'll be cool. But do I see it happening? I don't really know. But anyways, overall, the trailer was cool. The footage was interesting. I was hoping for some more epic stuff, but based off what we saw, this movie is going to have some extensive action, and it's the same animation style that Battle of Gods had, so I guess that's cool. I was hoping for some more upgrades, in the animation, but I guess it's okay. I mean, Battle of Gods' animation wasn't that terrible. I loved it for what it was, especially they had some really good moments. They had some, not so great moments, but majority of was good. So overall, if the trailer that comes out soon that's a little bit more extensive than that, then hopefully we can get some more action sequences. And maybe some good comedic moments, because we already know that's what Dragon Ball is all about. But anyways, moving off of that, let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. What do you think about the Dragon Ball footage for the new trailer of the new movie titled Fukatsu no F? Or Resurrection of Frieza, or Revival of Frieza, whichever you want to go with. Whichever, we already know Funimation's probably going to change the title to something like that. I just hope it's not as generic as their previous ones, like Return of Frieza. If that's the Funimation title, I will be kind of angry. But I get the feeling that it's quite possible. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what Funimation's going to do. They've really improved with their Dragon Ball home video type stuff, so we don't know. But other than that, I really want to see this movie. It's definitely one of those movies that I have to stay alive for. If I'm not alive to see this new movie, I'm going to be quite disappointed with humanity. But anyways, that's not what I'm here to talk about. But overall, let me know what you personally think about the footage that we got to see of this movie. Personally, I think it's awesome. Goku looks like a badass. Frieza is more powerful than ever. Vegeta looks scared. Why? I don't know. Master Roshi's doing some cool stuff. Krillin's doing some cool stuff. Gohan's a Super Saiyan again, even though that doesn't make any sense. But let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. But anyways, moving off of that, let's start off with some story stuff. I want to know everyone's beginnings into Dragon Ball Z. Like, I wanted that to be the main focus of the podcast, of this specific podcast, is that I personally want to know, like, how everyone got into the world of Dragon Ball. Like, I personally got into Dragon Ball through the Ocean dub. Like, when the second Dragon Ball hit, and, like, it essentially, like, took over, and, like, we got those first, the first 2 seasons of the original English dub, that's, like, how I was introduced to him. And, like, my overall, like, opening into the world of anime was through that. Like, every generation has those. Like, you have, like, my father's generation, who grew up, like, with Astro Boy and Speed Racer. Then you have my generation, who grew up with Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. And then you have, like, my nieces and nephews, like, a generation who grows up with, freaking Sword Online or whatever, and Attack on Titan. They grow up with that type of stuff. And it's cool because it just means that anime is just another genre that continues to go on, and develop. But everyone has those moments where they just get into that stuff. And I want to know what most of your openings into Dragon Ball is. You know, like I grew up with the cartoons. I grew up with the action figures. I remember the first time I ever saw an action figure of Dragon Ball. I was in Kmart, and this is back in the day when Kmart was a thing that you go to. I don't even know anymore. Like, I haven't been to a Kmart in years, but there was a time, kids. I don't know why I just did that. Like, what am I, an old man? But anyways, there was a time where you go to a Kmart and it defined who you were. Like, it was either... It's kind of like Best Buy today. No, that's a terrible... Walmart today. That's a better one. Walmart today. If you shop for everything at Walmart today, you're just embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself. You're embarrassing your family. But if you buy a few things here and there, it's like whatever. But that was the same thing back in like the 90s. Like if you were like buying your clothes at Kmart, you were like the biggest loser of all time. That was like a certain period of time where that was like a legitimate thing. Now it's like whatever. Who gives a shit? Fucking economy's crap. My job ain't paying. Who gives a shit? But anyways, Kmart back in the day sucked. But the one good thing that Kmart had was good action figures. And nowadays, I don't even know. They don't really have a good action figures section the way like a Walmart does. Not even there. Like, I don't know. Like, they don't really have a good one either. Then again, no, not even any store really has a good toy section anymore. Isn't that sadden anybody? That needs to sadden the majority of Americans that no good store has a great, extensive toy collection anymore. I remember, like, my big thing... I know I'm going off the hinges here. Just bear with me. There was a certain period of time that the biggest toy store that was amazing that you can go to was KB Toys. I remember that was my shit. Like, that was... Like, KB Toys was the place to be. That's where you fucking grew up. And that's where you became a man to someone's standards. But anyways, I used to go there. And they had the greatest toys. And now you don't really have that anymore. Like, I find that weird that KB Toys just goes out of business. Like, how did us as Americans let that happen? Like GameStop. If GameStop went out of business, I would give two shits. I don't even care. Like, I love video games, don't get me wrong. The video games are cool and fun when they need to be, but like, do we need a GameStop? Or at least as many GameStops as we have. I don't know. I don't fucking know. I'm not buying Xbox 360s or Xbox Ones every day. I don't freaking know. So, but KB Toys, you had to get rid of that. You fucking assholes. Like, whoever turned their back on a KB Toys needs to be shot in the head with a sniper. You know? I'm exaggerating, but I don't know. I don't even know where I'm getting at. First off, there was only 3 moments in my lifetime when I was growing up in the 90s where I was introduced to Dragon Ball Z. First being was like the anime itself on TV. You got the Ocean dub. And this was back in the day, of course, where you had to buy specific tapes, and that specific tape would only have like 2 episodes. And it costs like a shit ton of money. It's not like today where you go to Best Buy and you buy like season 10. All the episodes. $20. No, $30. Whichever. Back in the day, $30. 2 episodes. 1 tape. Doesn't that like baffle anybody? Like, that baffles me all the time. Whenever I go to Best Buy and I see Dragon Ball stuff that's like super like reasonable priced with all the episodes they have on Blu-ray. Of all things, Blu-ray, the blue without the E, and Ray. Back in the day, I had the fucking tape that looked like shit. You freeze frame, looks like shit. You fucking TV accelerates and it explodes. And only had 2 episodes. I'm exaggerating. It probably had like 4 episodes at the most, maybe 3, 4 max. I'm gonna go with 4. But doesn't that baffle anybody that used to be a thing where tapes only had like a selection of episodes, like 2 or 3, and now you have full seasons for a reasonable price on Blu-ray? That just baffles me. Like, that just kills me inside. It's like, why couldn't I grow up today? That's what I want to know. Fuck me. But anyways, that's one, the Ocean dub. You know, the over 9000s, the Feel My Wrath, Vegeta's Wrath type stuff. That's the shit I grew up on. Then I had the action figures where I went into Kmart one day and I saw a Gogeta Super Saiyan Gogeta with a Saiyan Saga Vegeta figure. And this is with the old, like super old Irwin toys. I'm pretty sure everyone has had one. Fucking Christ, that was amazing. The second I saw them, it was like being touched by God. You know, one of those moments, like fucking Leo. Like I don't even know. It's a painting that needs to be on my wall. Me first time holding a Saiyan Saga Vegeta figure. My brain is killing me. But anyways, that's a fucking good moment, folks. That's like finding the holy grail of toys to introduce you to this. That's like first timer getting into TMNT through the toys. That's some awesome shit. Or Power Rangers, but the cool ones, not the crappy ones. I don't know. Because there's a shit ton of Power Ranger episodes. Anyways, there's those two, and then there's the third one where I used to be a video store mogul, where I would always go to video stores, and they always had only like two specific episodes or tapes rather of Dragon Ball. One of them was that one Dragon Ball movie which was like the first movie that Funimation ever did, which was that crystal, the blood crystal ruby. I don't remember. It was one of those Dragon Ball movies. I can't remember the name. I could look it up, but I'm far too lazy. Tell me in the comment section that name. Anyways, it was that one, and it was the first episode of the Saiyan Saga. And it was Raditz versus Piccolo and Goku. And I remember I would rent that every freaking weekend. I'd go there every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday morning, rent it, and just watch it over and over again. And just be amazed. And that's how I was introduced to Dragon Ball. That was my introduction into the Dragon Ball mythos. That was the legend being, into me. That was it inserted into my eyes. Pre-technology, pre-Apple, pre-everything. Back in the day with a fucking computer that was as big as your TV. And you had to download Dragon Ball posters and images. Like Goku, Super Saiyan 3. Back when you didn't even know what Super Saiyan 3 was. It's like, what is this? Who's this character? This is from the Buu Saga. What the fuck is the Buu Saga? That's how crazy you are when you're a fucking kid with a shitty-ass internet back in the 90s. That's me. And I don't know. I'm pretty sure there has to be a couple of Dragon Ball fans that used to go through this, where you would fucking try to download something Dragon Ball related, and I would do it all the time. And this is back when Funimation had that shitty-ass website, or it was somebody. I forgot who it was. It was DragonBallZ.com, but the really, really old shitty-ass one, back before Apple was awesome. Before it became, like, a cool thing to have, Apple, and, like, have touchscreens and everything. This is back in the Microsoft was, like, a gigantic TV box thing. And, like, I would have to download them, and it would take, like, half the day. And it like, literally was just, like, you had to watch it go down, watch it go down, watch it go down. It's like, fuck. And I would do that, like, every day. Just trying to, like, download new pictures, new sagas, new everything. Ah, God, I don't know. That just amazes me. But that's basically how I got into Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball opened up the doors to anime to me. You get to that, then you go to Yu Yu Hakusho, and then you move on from there, and you go into your Bleaches and your Narutos, and so on and so forth. But Dragon Ball was pretty much the first thing that ever got me into anime, and it was amazing. I love that era of late to mid 90s, mid to late 90s to early 2000s. That was like the definitive Dragon Ball era. That was at its core, at fandom, And I was right there. And that was, like, there's a few times where everyone gets to do that in their lifetime, where it's like, I was there when I saw the Sex Pistols. I was there when I got to see Jaws open up at the box office first time ever. I was there at waiting in line to see Star Wars. Everybody has that in a specific era where something breaks out and you get to witness it in first time. You're like in the front row. You finally got to see and witness that. I was one of that part of that generation that got to see anime finally blow up and Dragon Ball Z become fandom. It was like Beatles Mania for anime. Dragon Ball Z. That's the shit. Anyways, And then Cartoon Network came in. Fucking awesome. Didn't know what the fuck they were doing, but they fucking did it anyways. And then you got the fucking rehash of the sagas. Frieza saga, saw it a million times. Pissed me off back then. Now I fucking wish it happened again, but it ain't fucking happening because Nickelodeon sucks. And Toonami's way too late. But overall, that's just the thing, you know? I don't know. That's just the thing. But in the comment section below, I want to know everybody else's introduction to Dragon Ball and introduction to anime. Just anime in general. Like, everybody has those, you know? Like, I mentioned it before in the beginning of my rant here. You know, like, my father grew up with Speed Racer and Astro Boy. I grew up with Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon. And the kids today, they grow up with fucking Attack on Titan and shit, so... It's good because it continues to make anime relevant. So it doesn't really bother me. Like, a lot of people who are, like, hardcore 90s anime fans, like, oh, no, I only like the Dragon Ball Z, the Yu Yu Hakusho, you know, shit like that. You know, I fuck your One Piece. It's, like, not really, like, it doesn't really bother me, the over expansion of anime today with the overrated animes. Like, and I stated even in my top 5 overrated anime list, is that just because they're overrated doesn't mean they're not good. Like, One Piece is good. It is overrated. You know, like, there's tons of people in, like, the Japanese anime community or the American anime community that put One Piece at number 1 all the time. And even though I don't agree with that, that doesn't mean, like, oh, because they say it means One Piece sucks. That doesn't necessarily mean it's true. You know, One Piece is good anime. It definitely has done its job. It's definitely introduced people to anime. And it continues to sell, you know? Same thing about Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is definitely overrated. But it doesn't mean it's crap. Like, I just finished watching all of Season 1. And even though I can see, like, oh, well, people exaggerate a little bit. It's not the greatest thing ever. It's still enjoyable. It's good. The characterization is good. The animation is good. The artwork is good. The storytelling is good. There's not really a bad moment. Although it is overrated. You know, so I don't really get on that high horse of like, oh, well, my generation's anime was better. It's like, not really. It's like, it was good for what it was, and now you have this new shit. And it's cool, too, because the old shit continues to live on. You know, One Piece continues to do movies. Naruto is doing their new movies. You know, Fullmetal Alchemist has a ton of movies. Dragon Ball Z is still relevant. It's still doing their movies. We have this new Frieza movie. So it continues to go on and on and on. You know, it's a good thing. And I don't like to be on my high horse and be like, oh, well, your overrated shit sucks. It's like, it's not really my place. You know, because just because it's not my thing doesn't mean it's like everybody's thing. I don't know. That's just me. But overall, let's move off of that and let's get into some top 5 action. Or, you know what? I don't know. Should I do some live action stuff or just top 5? You know what? Let's just do the top 5 real quick. Seeing as how this has been kind of a Frieza heavy thing in an older Dragon Ball Z thing, I decided, well, let's see. The first top 5 for this new one is essentially going to be a Frieza one. So let's get started on this one. First off, I'm going to do my top 5 Frieza moments. And then future episodes would just continuously just do, like, other top 5s, you know. Because I did state that my Dragon Ball Z segments weren't going to end. It was just going to continue on this podcast. So, anyways, moving off of that. My first top 5 for this podcast is going to be my top 5 Frieza moments. And this can range to anything. So, let's just get started. Coming up at number 5 on my Frieza list has to go down to Frieza tearing off Nao's arm. You get multiple moments where Frieza proves himself to be a sinister villain in the anime. Specifically in the manga. Like, the manga, he's a little bit more menacing. But in the anime, he's definitely menacing. But you don't really get to see how menacing until you see the brutality in his actions. You know, like, you get to see it in the destruction of Namek, where he's, like, killing people. Or Dodoria and fucker Zarbon is fucking killing people. And he's just watching. Like, you can see it there, but this was the moment where I was like, this guy doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's just tearing people's arms. Who does that? And that's so badass, too. Like Nail he just comes right at him with full force, his whole power, his whole body weight just slams his neck. And Frieza's just standing there like it didn't affect him. Like, intensely. And he just grabs his arm and just pops it right off like he was a Barbie doll or something. It was just insane and intense. Especially for me, growing up as a kid, watching that shit, it was insane. And I think what's crazier about that moment is the moment where Nail regenerates his arm and it comes back. I think that's crazier because Frieza didn't know Namex could do that, and he has that moment where he's like, wow, your race can do that? Wow, that's interesting. I need to keep that in my noggin, my little scouter that I never look at when it comes in handy later, even though he never uses it, ironically. But I think the cool thing about that moment is that he did that thing, he tore off his arm, not caring if he could do it. And I think that just adds to his villainy. But anyways, moving off of that, going to number 4, has to go to the moment where Frieza cuts himself up with his own attack. That is definitively the craziest thing I've ever seen anybody do in the entire Dragon Ball Z series. Like, Cell doesn't do that. Boo can do that, but can get away with it. Frieza does it, and it's like, oh, shit. It's that, like, WT moment all over again. And it's so amazing the way it's done. It's like Goku obviously strategically beat Frieza, but at the same time, he didn't want him to deal with that type of pain and suffering. So it kind of is bittersweet ending to it all, which is, I think, the greatness about that storyline, is that how bittersweet the ending to that attack was, is that Frieza is defeated by his own attack. And I think that's why it's so great. But that's just me. Anyways, moving off of that, going to number 3, has to go to the death of Krillin. Frieza killing Krillin was epic and awesome, because even though it's sad to see Krillin die, especially in the second time in the overall scope of things, it's his second time. The first time was against King Piccolo, if I'm not mistaken, in the Dragon Ball series, and his second time dying was in this moment in the Frieza saga. So I think it's really epic because it opens up Goku becoming a Super Saiyan, but it's also really sad because it's a character that we obviously love and always thought would survive, because, you're growing up as an American, not knowing the Japanese or the Dragon Ball version yet. You grow up with Krillin in the Saiyan saga and you think, oh, well, he gets beat up, but he keeps getting back up and he continues to tag along on these journeys. But he doesn't get to continue to go on this one. And it's kind of foreshadowed in the fight between Frieza, but you don't really think it. But then when it finally happens, it's so sad and devastating. And but I think it's all for the greater good because Goku becomes a Super Saiyan, which is pretty badass. But anyways, moving off of that, going to number 2 on my list of top 5 moments, it has to go to the death of Vegeta. Killing Vegeta was definitely very badass. It was definitely a moment that you did not expect. Vegeta at this point has reached the end of his ropes. He obviously knows he cannot defeat Frieza. He's obviously inferior to Frieza's power. And I think the sad moment about it is that Vegeta knows that he's going to die, is definitely afraid of dying, and sad to know that this is the end. And this is it. This is, no one's going to wish me back. No one's going to care. I lived my entire life based off what this guy told me to do. And now it's it. I'm over. It's done. The Saiyan race dies. Even though it doesn't end that way legitimately, because obviously Goku does care about Vegeta. He always saw something in Vegeta, which is why he comes back to life. But at that exact moment, you're thinking in your head that, yeah, this is the moment. This is the limit. This is it. This guy that we saw as a villain is truly, a sympathetic character that gets killed. It's a good and bad thing because, like, Vegeta suffers that Darth Vader syndrome, where it's like he's the definitive villain at first, but then he becomes more sympathetic through time passes by. And it's good because it adds more depth to his character. And seeing as how Toriyama did such a good job at pursuing that depth, even with whether or not he was intentionally doing it through his writing and artistry, he still did it, and it was good. So I don't know. That's just how I personally feel. But moving off of that, going to number 1 has to go to Trunks killing Frieza. That is my definitive Frieza moment. It's the biggest moment that we did not expect. It's one of those moments where I feel like if I could have expected how Frieza would have died in the early stages of the Android Saga, that's the number 1 moment where I thought that was never going to happen. Who is Trunks? How is he a Super Saiyan? Why is Frieza back? And then, bam, slash, fucking right through the fucking jugular, fucking from the head to fucking abdomen, sliced right in half. Insane. And then Trunks just adds insult to injury, just slices him up in little pieces like he's fucking making a steak and shit, and just key blasts him right the fucking hell. And I love that shit. It was so badass. I mean, I remember seeing that on a t-shirt and just thinking, fuck yeah, that is the shit. You know, I just remember that. Like, that image will always be singed into my memory banks. It's like, fuck yeah, that's Frieza getting, you know, what he deserves. And even though he did, first off, in the Frieza saga against Goku, this was that, but 10 times more badass. Because it was the introduction to a new, you know, awesome addition to the DBZ universe, which is Trunks, but it was just one of those death scenes that are so epic, you know. It's just like, usually when you get cut in half with a sword, you just like, it's waist to waist, but this is like head to freaking, you know, to the bottom. It's just insane and awesome at the same time. I just love it. Up and down. Oh god. You know, shit's going down. It's just insane. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was my top 5 Frieza moments. But in the comment section below, I'm pretty sure all of you have a specific top 5 of your favorite Frieza moments. There are great Frieza moments, which is why Frieza is the superior villain, you know. Even though he is weaker in comparison, he definitely has a lot of depth and development just ready to be done, and that's why I can't wait for this movie. And plus, he's the only villain to really have a lot to do with, you know, everything that happens in the universe, specifically the Dragon Ball universe. You know, if there's no Frieza, there is no Goku. If there's no Frieza, there is no Vegeta. You know, so it is a good thing for what it is. Also, before I end this, or continue with the specific podcast, I wanted to mention something real quick. If you guys ever want to check out some pretty interesting tribute videos online for Dragon Ball Z purposes, and you guys know that I'm obviously a major pursuer towards the project of a Dragon Ball Z live-action franchise, and there's a specific YouTuber who does tribute videos, and there's one tribute video that hands down is one of the best things he's ever done. The YouTuber goes by the name of Dark Monolith, I think that's how you say it, and the title of the video is Dragon Ball Z Allegory of War. Type that in on YouTube, and the first, like, 3 minutes of the video, like 2 minutes and 40 seconds, is hands down, if you ever wanted to know, like, what my thoughts are on Dragon Ball Z trailers and how a trailer should be for a Dragon Ball Z live-action franchise, that's it. So definitely check that out, and let's just move on from there. Alright guys, well, let's move off of that and get into some Dragon Ball comments. I'm gonna, you know, one of the major things as to what I wanted to do with this Dragon Ball podcast is to get more Dragon Ball fans involved, because I do know that majority, or at least, you know, half of my subscribers are into Dragon Ball Z, so relatively, when I do a Dragon Ball video, or when I just have a Dragon Ball-esque or anime video, usually most of them comment, so I decided, you know, I want to get you guys involved, and whether or not we can get that done has yet to be presented, so if you have any ideas, let me know. But one of the things that I want to do is just name off some comments that I usually get for my Dragon Ball, you know, videos that I really haven't gotten to yet. So if I have not replied to you, mostly because I'll probably address it later in a different medium, which is, of course, this one, my podcast, Dragon Ball Podcast. Anyways, Bryan Cranston, what the heck is he doing? That is not what I'm talking... sorry about that, folks. I got distracted there for a second. Bryan Cranston is talking, and it's insanely interesting. And it has nothing to do with what I'm about to do, and it has nothing to do with Dragon Ball, but Bryan Cranston is a badass, so I have to listen into what he's saying real quick. Just give me a few seconds. Okay, there. Now he's done talking. Now let's get into the Dragon Ball comments. Anyways. I got a comment here for my Dragon Ball Z Fugatsu no F video, which I basically talk about the recent developments. That was my latest Dragon Ball Z video that I done, and someone basically commented on it saying, your analysis to all the point is amazing, smiles, and direct. Well, simple and direct. He forgot to put the P, so. Thank you for sharing this video with us. Basically, all I can really say is thank you for the compliment, sir. I really appreciate what you had to say, but definitely thanks for the comment. I think that's one of that's an idealistic comment where it's like that's the kind of comment I like to get all the time, like people complimenting me, but when it does happen, I do appreciate it greatly. It's not like I don't appreciate it, and if I don't get to you or comment on it, it doesn't mean I don't give a shit about your opinion, even though that's something a lot of people like to say to me anyways. But overall, thanks, man. I really appreciate that type of stuff. But anyways, moving off of that, here's another comment. I like the Dragon Balls are just there for wishes in the other series, but in GT they are a major part of it, presenting themselves as antagonists. That's basically a comment for my top 5 Dragon Ball GT fights. And yeah, I kind of get where you're coming from. No, not GT fights. I think my GT Pros. Yeah, my GT Pros. Essentially, that was a video where I gave you all the things that were good about GT. Essentially, I can get where you're coming from. The Dragon Balls were really kind of just whatever in Dragon Ball Z, which is what they're supposed to be, you know. That the idea behind the Dragon Balls is just the catalyst for the story to begin, you know. Like, if there is no... Like, even if the storyline that you're doing has nothing to do with wishing something, the Dragon Balls have to be there just to have it. Like, Battle of Gods. The Dragon Balls have nothing to do with the episode, but it has to be in there just to be in there. You know, you have to have that moment where they use the Dragon Balls for something, which is what they do. You know, Goku uses the Dragon Balls specifically to wish Shenron and use information that Shenron gives them to get to become Super Saiyan God. So that's pretty much what they're doing. So I kind of get where you're coming from. So I guess, yeah, that's one of the main or good things that GT actually did. Anyways, moving on to that, on my top 5 Dragon Ball cons, mine is Piccolo. In DBZ, he kept the series alive as one of the few abnormal-looking people, but to cut him off so soon and to drop the whole Namekian idea except for the few short times is crap. Now, character development wad nowhere to be seen in the way of... What? In it, the way you saw it, the way it stayed. I don't know where you're getting at, sir. Please do a revamp of that comment. But anyways, now, don't get me wrong. Enjoyed all the episodes, got into the series, and got excited and bummed, but there is a reason there are no movies for it. The attempts for comedy are bad and sad through their one. Okay, well, I kind of get where you're coming from. Obviously, the sole purpose of my top 5 Dragon Ball cons was essentially to name off everything that was wrong with Dragon Ball GT. And yours is obviously Piccolo and the Namekians not being a big part of it. I know there's a huge Piccolo following, just as much as there is a Gohan or Goku following, or a Vegeta following. And in GT, and with the Buu Saga in GT, it's like this. When it came to the Buu Saga, if you weren't a Saiyan, you were pretty much useless. Sad, but true. GT, if you weren't Goku, you were pretty much useless. Sad, but true. So I can get where you're getting from, but that's the creator side of things. It is stupid and it was sad for the way they edited things, and Piccolo dying in GT was crap. So I get where you're coming from. Anyways, let's move off of that and see what else do we got. Some more Dragon Ball Z comments. Okay, this is my Bardock is the original Super Saiyan topic video that I did way back ago. Essentially, it doesn't make sense to you, so it's not canon. Best thing all day. I can't tell if that's a negative comment or a positive comment, but hell, if it made your day what I had to say, I guess, then sure, go ahead. But, I'm guessing that it's kind of negative the way you're sounding it, so I'm gonna basically say, yeah, it's not canon. You know, it's just... It's not that it doesn't make sense, so it's not canon. This is a misconception that people continue to get when they listen to me talk. It's just that, just because it doesn't make sense doesn't mean it's canon. It's not canon. Bardock is not the original Super Saiyan. He did not become a Super Saiyan and fight Frieza's ancestors. That's a spin-off story. You know, it's not canon to the manga, and it's not canon to the anime. Until Toriyama comes by and says, this is the shit, then yeah, there you go. But no, Bardock is not the original Super Saiyan, nor is he the original Super Saiyan God, so I don't know why people continue to be like, oh yeah, it's canon. Oh, you're stupid for saying it's not canon. It's not canon, dude. It's not. Sorry, but it's not. Sorry. But anyways, moving on from that, here's another one for the same video, another topic comment. All of you Dragon Ball fans are crazy and need a real hobby. Now, this one's hysterical to me because I remember seeing this a while back, and I wanted to comment something sarcastic and condescending, but I felt like it's not worth my time. But at the same time, it's funny, so I appreciate it, so I keep it there. But I don't know, guys. I guess it depends on your personal preference on this comment. For me personally, I kind of get where this guy's coming from. Obviously, my topic video is going out there and is unnecessary in the overall scope of things. But it's a topic video. You don't really have to like it or appreciate it for what I'm trying to get at. But yeah, are Dragon Ball fans crazy or need a hobby? You tell me in the comment section below. Do you think Dragon Ball fans are crazy? I personally think I'm crazy, but is that because I'm a Dragon Ball fan? I don't think so. So, are people who are into MTV crazy? Are people who are into Mad Men crazy? Or people who are into, you know, wanting to be cops crazy? I don't know. Why don't you ask them? For me personally, am I crazy? Possibly. But is it because I'm a Dragon Ball fan? I find it highly unlikely. And do I need a real hobby? I have tons of hobbies, dude. I fucking audio record for a living. That's my fucking hobby. I podcast for a living. That's my hobby. I exercise. That's a hobby. I fucking talk shit all the time. And make a living off of it. That's my hobby. So, are you crazy? Possibly. Do you need a hobby? Pretty sure. Because you talking shit to other people on the internet is not really a hobby. It's just an insult to humanity. Anyways, in the comment section below, all Dragon Ball fans who are watching, or not watching, listening to this Dragon Ball podcast, let me know what you personally think. Do you think all Dragon Ball fans are crazy? And do you think you need a hobby? Because that's what this guy thinks. But anyways, moving off of that, let's see. Let's see here. Okay. This is going to be the last comment I'm going to do for this podcast. This is for my top 5 Dragon Ball Z female characters, which is hands down possibly one of my most viewed Dragon Ball Z videos out there, which definitely brings light to my heart, because just to know that everybody has seen it, or a lot of people have seen it, is just awesome to me. I love that. But this is a comment that I got for that specific video, and if you want to see that video, there will be a link. Or you can just go back to my channel, and there will be a playlist of top 5s, and you'll find it there. But overall, if you want to know who are the best of the best, definitely check that out. But anyways, this is a comment for that video, and it says, Krillin is the best man! Exclamation. Come on, he is the strongest human in the world. Good list. Thought I would put 18 over Bulma. Okay. Krillin, is he the best man? Is he... Sure. Yeah, he's funny. He's awesome. Is he the strongest human in the world? Possibly. Sure. It's definitely debatable. You know, Krillin is definitely one of the strongest humans, but is he the strongest human? I really don't know. I would debate whether or not Tien is the strongest human, because he trains all the time, and he's definitely stronger. Yamcha, obviously, is not the strongest human in the Dragon Ball Z universe, so I definitely wouldn't put him. Hercule has potential, but not really. Videl is definitely a very strong human, so she is too, but, is Krillin the strongest man, human man, male, in the Z universe? I don't know. It's definitely debatable, but you definitely like Krillin. Hell, I like Krillin too. I never said that I hated Krillin. I was just trying to make a joke. My Ronda Rousey joke, I think it was, because I was talking about 18 and comparing 18 to Ronda Rousey, which is my best analogy of the year, I think. If there was ever a top 5 analogies that I did over this past year, I would put that as my number 1. It's stupid, but I like it. Anyways. Yeah, Krillin, he's the best guy. He's awesome. He's one of my favorite characters, not denying that. But is he the strongest human in the Z universe? You tell me, guys, in the comment section below. Who do you think is the strongest human? I put my money on Tien Shenhan, but I could be wrong. But could Krillin be the best? I really don't know. And who do you think is better, 18 or Bulma? Definitely, 18 is definitely stronger than Bulma, but does that mean she's a better character than Bulma? That's the thing. That was what I was trying to get across with my top 5 Dragon Ball Z female characters, is that I was trying to put characterization instead of power. Obviously, 18 is the most powerful and strongest female, but does she have the most depth? Does she have the most attributes that you like? I don't know. It depends on what you think. But overall, Krillin is the best. Is he the strongest? I say Tien's the strongest, but that's just me. And I think Bulma is a better character than 18. Even though 18 would kick her ass, it is true. That's how I feel. But overall, thanks for the comments. I think I'm going to end this here because Arrow is about to start, and I got to check out my Arrow and put out my mid-season finale review, so definitely check that out. But overall, this has been my first episode of my Dragon Ball podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely leave me tons of comments. And if you want to have your comments read on the podcast, let me know. If you don't want to have your name put out there, definitely let me know. Because I definitely will be doing it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little podcast. Definitely this will be the first one of the year. And most than likely, I won't do another one till January. Or sometime post-January. So definitely check out this podcast. But anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed. Just like my other podcast, the overall length of these episodes will just be to an hour. Like less than or up to an hour. So essentially that's what you guys have to look forward to. But if you have any topics, any ideas, you guys want to be a part of the show, you guys want any type of new additions that you want me to talk about, you have any topics that you want me to do, any topic videos outside of this podcast, just let me know in the comment section below. Also, subscribe to my channel if you've not done so already. I hope everybody's enjoyed this first ever episode to my Dragon Ball podcast. But anyways, that's going to be it for this episode, and I'll be back later next year, or possibly later than that. I don't know. Really depends on what you guys think. Testing the waters. Just testing the waters. Anyways, none of my babbling. Arrow has officially started. Shit's about to go down. Dragon Ball Z, Forgot to Know F, coming out very soon. Can't wait to see that. Kai is on Toonami. Check that shit out. Hope you guys enjoyed. This has been John Joker 12. Hope you guys enjoyed.